Hello, my sped guns. It is I, Out of Blood, the Ghoul Next Door, and welcome to another edition of Cinema Reviews. And today we're talking about Bon Cop, Bad Cop 2. Okay, so I just saw this at the theater the other day at the cinema. It is a Canadian movie. It is a French-English-Canadian film, 95% French. There is subtitles, which is good because I do not speak a lick of French. So the plot of this one, we pick up 10 years after the first film. The first film, we have a Quebec cop, a detective from Quebec and a detective from Ontario, and they have to solve a series of murders that are happening between the French, English, Quebec, Ontario border. So this one picks up 10 years later, and they haven't seen each other in 10 years, but the character of David is undercover in a car theft ring connected to the mob. And when his former partner, Martin, shows up to bust they do a raid on the chop shop, and he learns that he's undercover, so he has to take him in, and they have this fight just to keep so that his cover does not get blown. But what happens is they soon find out that the cars are being used in car bombs over the border in the United States. So what starts off seeming like one direction, the movie quickly turns and goes to this other direction, and they find themselves, the two detectives find themselves on a race against time to find all the missing vehicles and remove the bombs before they explode. And we learn through the course of the film that this mob boss who is running the chop shop, he's just a pawn in this. He's not even the big bad. The big bad is an American trying to start a civil war in the United States. So I won't, because it is still in theaters, I won't tell you anything else. That just kind of covers the first half of the film, so I won't tell you anything else in case you want to go to the cinema and see it. Or I have no idea if this is going to get released outside of Canada in cinemas. It probably, once it comes on to DVD, Blu-ray, it'll most likely be released in the States. I have to say, whereas the first movie was a buddy cop comedy, this one takes itself a little more serious. The topic matter is just as dark as the first one, but they do handle it a lot more seriously than the first film. And it does leave some room for a third film, which I really, really hope they decide to go ahead with. That would be great to see this turned into a franchise. The comedy pretty much comes in the rest of the cast. There's a female co-worker who's the hacker computer expert, and she's kind of this crazy all over the place type of character who's very she's over the top and very extreme in everything she does, and the humor comes through in her character, as well as one of my favorite scenes in the film has to do with them stealing a hockey helmet, a hockey goalie's helmet, which is a bit of an in-joke to the first film. And the whole idea of, like, how are they going to return it? And there's a little joke about, well, the one guy, he's like, I'm not going to let you touch it because you're not a fan of this team. You're a fan of the rival team. So there's a lot of, whereas the first film, all the jokes were the Canadian, French, English divide. a lot of the jokes this time around are the Canadian-American divide. And there is one scene that is supposed to take place across the border in the United States with a bunch of American cops that, well, let's just say only the Canadians will get the humor in that one. That's all I have to say for today. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do. Leave me a comment, show me some love, and tune in again and tune in often. Creeping Screams.